No brains, like, no brains at all. Literally no brains. Hello race fans and welcome to another episode of Frogs Hollow TV, and this one is slightly different. Once again brought to you by our great partners at TC Media and Rose & Sons Earth Moving. Due to current COVID restrictions across New South Wales, we're unable to shoot from our fabulous Frogs Hollow studio out the road. However, I'm still fortunate enough to be joined by co-host Derek Wheelie Rose. How are you, Wheelie?
Yeah, good Tobe. Hello fans, hello boys and girls. This is definitely a different show, but anyhow, we'll do our best.
How are you handling the lockdown, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. We can't see our mates, but we still work, but that's the main thing, I suppose.
And we can still shoot a show at Frogs Hollow.
Oh yeah, mate. The whole is bloody. Let's just prep for the next race, whatever it is.
Yeah. So let's get straight into the action. On tonight's show, we will review both events from the weekend before last. Of course, the Zooms Cup in Inglewood, which we know pretty well, Derek, hosted by Sequora. Before looking at what went down in Western Australia at the Cochrane's Transport Midwest Challenge. We'll then bulge into news from around the track before casting our eyes on the next events on the calendar, which of course the Pretoria Hotel Mannum Enduro in South Australia, and also the highly anticipated Pat McDonald Earth Moving Don River Dash in North Queensland, both to be held in 2 weekends' time. We'll then end the show with some exclusive onboard footage from SMU Racing's Matt Hanson at St George this March. You don't want to miss that exclusive at the end of the show. Derek, once again, massive shout out to our contributors who send the stuff in for the show. Again, the support this week has been amazing. I know you talk about it a fair bit, Derek, but it just does make our show week in, week out.
Oh mate, without the people that send it into us, Toby, and without the support behind us, mate, this show wouldn't be where it is. I know that we talk the talk and talk the shit, but at the end of the day, mate, we can't do it without the people that send stuff into us, and really appreciate it. And
firstly tonight is Sean Hampton of Hampton Media Services up there in Queensland, to Mick Layden of Fossil Fuel Photography for your awesome shots from Inglewood last weekend, to Dan McKenzie again for your little clips of the Racer Trophy Truck in action, and to Aaron Holland for supplying the in-car footage of himself and Kai Floyd on their way to a 4th outright victory of the season. A special mention to WA form expert Jason Gallier of Cage Tech Racing for supplying us with an event video, interviews and in-car material from the Midwest Challenge there last weekend. Of course, don't miss that Harley Uran in-car stuff at the end of the show in his Angry Pro 2 trophy truck. Also to Bobby Sandu, once again of Lens Nation Studios, for the winners' highlights from the Midwest Challenge over there in WA, and to Ben Hutt for providing the clip of Matt Hanson at this year's ORC Round 1 opener. So straight into our event reviews for the show. Wheelie, the 2021 Zooms Cup at Inglewood. We've been there twice. What were we there last year? 4th or 5th outright after that flat, but held under the ASA banner, Aora. It's a great event.
Yeah, no, it is a good event, mate. It's a shame the lockdowns kept us out, but definitely, mate, Queensland and Western Australia, South Australia, the states of the beat at the moment when it comes to off-road racing.
And they had 29 great the starter over there, only 14 finish. It definitely is a challenging, fast-paced event, and they do a good job over there. And it was echoed by competitors post-race all over social media, and the track's got a mix of everything, and the ball dust this year looked out of control in some parts.
Yeah, it's a bit unreal. I thought they would have a lot of rain over there, but the couple of rollovers I've seen and a bit of the footage, mate. Yeah, bloody really dusty. The bull dust bloody held a big factor in that race over there, in that respect.
And surprise, Kai Floyd and Aaron Holland continue their win run, claiming a 4th outright victory in Queensland for 2021. Incredible. Posted the fastest time in Section 1 and were never headed until a late stumble on Sunday gave Jake Swinglehurst a sniff going into the final lap dash, but they held on for an 18-second victory over 165 kilometres. And yeah, I don't think there's much to say about Kai Floyd except he's having an incredible year.
Oh, mate, Clive is, and he knows it too. Like, I hope he's got a hat on when he watches this show because his head will get big, as it always is. Joke by, but no, mate, he's a very talented steerer in a Can-Am. Geez, I like to see him in a big car and see how he goes, Toby, because I'll tell you what, mate, he's got no fear. That's the biggest thing, mate. No fear at all.
And as we said, Jake Swinglehurst was in second position, so a good weekend for him. He had a battle against his brother Tom for a podium position in the SRT Racing Can-Am's crew member there until Mechanical Fay ended young Tom's campaign. Also on this little segment, you'll ride with Tom Swinglehurst on his charge thanks to Hampton's media services, so check that out. Zach Marsh had to overcome a soft rollover on Saturday to settle for third outright, 6 minutes adrift, running out a Can-Am podium, and that's impressive, Derek. If you have a little rollover during a race and get back on your wheels and head to the podium, it's a good charge.
Oh, mate, that's a bloody good charge. I'll tell you what, mate, the people that would have helped him out to get that back on its wheels, mate. Credit to them, mate. But yeah, that's a bloody big charge, and that sort of, like I said, that track is pretty hard going, and to come back at that after a rollover, that's pretty bloody impressive.
And Dalby's Pat Philp, good mate of ours, piloted his Jimco Pro Lot to a class win and fourth outright, a good run for him. Gary Taylor continued his brilliant return to the track, running out the top 5 in his Can-Am. Paul Hutchinson claimed the side-by-side sport silverware, crossing in 6th outright, holding off Mitchell Jones and John Wires with only 5 minutes between those 3 competitors. John Crarge took home the Pro Buggy. Ben Duff put down some quick times to win the Sports-like class. Matt Lawless took the Extreme 2-wheel drive win, with Tyler Human likewise in the Performance 2-wheel drive. And young Imogen Ellsworth secured a maiden production 4-wheel drive title, with Luke McNichol taking home the Extreme 4-wheel drive silverware. Your selection, Derek, Brett Comiskey, he was battling for an outright podium finish in his Invitational Racer Engineering 4-wheel drive V8 twin turbo trophy truck before running into some fuel dramas, but he was definitely a crowd pleaser. He'll be definitely one to watch at Bowen in a couple of weekends' time.
Yeah, no, he'll be definitely one to watch that up there at Bowen, mate. It'll be, I wish we could make it, mate. We're in lockdown, but we'll keep an eye on it. But mate, he'd be very impressive up there. I think that's that sandy country with that amount of horsepower and suspension, mate. He'd be one to watch.
And Tony Dalton in his short wheelbase Nissan Patrol had a little unfortunate end to his Zooms Cup. He rolled over in the same corner as March, I believe, in the deep bull dust corner, and it ended his weekend. Put on a bit of a pleaser there for the guys with the cameras, but
that's coming down that
that big fence line. Yeah, he had a big.
We had the hallelujah.
Yeah, we did.
Just before you turn right there, mate. And it gets bloody bull dusty down there, but I seen that roll over. It's pretty impressive, matter of fact.
Yeah. So that's the Zooms Cup for 2021, a great event. Now we'll move on to the Cochrane's Transport Midwest Challenge over there in WA, round 3 of the Motorsport Australia Western Australian Championship. And before we start, massive thanks again to our WA form expert Jason Gallier for providing the event notes, the footage, the insights, and he also got some chats with the winners from the weekend over there, Derek. And I know we've talked about him on the show before, but those sort of guys that go above and beyond to help the show, it's awesome to see.
Oh, mate, it's awesome. Like I said to you, Toby, at the beginning of it, mate, we can't do it without them. And everyone that's come on board, mate, words don't describe what they're actually doing for you and me, Toby, and our fans, mate.
And it is quality footage. Just take it from the spectator area. You just sat there and took footage all weekend, so you enjoy the video as we go through the results. 15 of the 26 starters greeted the checkered flag after 200 kilometres plus of gruelling WA action. A race notoriously tough and rough on cars with deep sand terrain. The biggest hurdle for competitors was just basically getting to that finish line, with only a third of the entries usually finishing full race distance. Most of the top competitors were talking about not actually wanting to lead the race off. It was that daunting getting out in that sand terrain first. So there wasn't that normal talk in the pits of 100% push to win the prologue. Harley Uran, though, was the first car to start off after an impressively quick prologue time in his Extreme Two-Wheel Drive trophy truck, a 9-second victory there over Keith Rance in a Pro Buggy and Steve Ketheridge Hall. That was your tip, Derek, Harley Uran. He was off to a good start, and then he also continued it with a massive Section 1 victory over a minute and a half ahead of Stephen Ketheridge Hall and Stephen Phillips, who was a further 11 seconds back in third. But that trophy truck, we saw him over there in Kalgoorlie a couple of years ago, that single-seater left-hand drive is very, very impressive.
Oh, mate, he's impressive. Like I said, he'll only get better as it goes on, and very, very impressive, mate. He's
got a bit of experience out behind the board. He loves the WA circuit. Section 2, Sunday, Stephen Ketheridge Hall went quickest by just 0.2 of a second over Harley Uran, with Stephen Phillips only 7 seconds back from the lead, and the battle was definitely on. Jason Gallier was lucky enough to catch up with Harley Uran and Stephen Ketheridge Hall after the section wins. Hear what they both had to say.
Harley leading after day one. How was everything today?
It was a good run today. Went out with a nice solid prologue. Didn't really want to lead the pack off, but managed to do that. And then, 2 nice clean laps. Good pace, sandy, but pulled through pretty unscathed, so it's good.
Any plan for tomorrow?
I think same again. We'll just keep doing laps and try and stay in front of these buggies that are trying to hunt us down.
Cool, thanks. Okay, Junior, so you won Section 2 by 0.2 of a second. How was your run, and what's the plan for the next section?
Run was really good. The track is getting really, really rough. Very, very labour intensive in the car, but second section we're just going to go out and go just as hard and hope it comes home to the finish, basically. Yep.
Does it worry you at all that you've got a big trophy truck and a pro buggy hunting down a little pro light?
Nah, not at all. Just makes me more excited. Ready to rock and roll.
Cool, good luck.
Thanks, mate.
So thanks to Jace there. Awesome interviews. We'll get some more later on in the preview. You'll also see in the footage a massive crash involving Mike Green in his Toyota Tacoma on one of the high-speed sections there, coming across in front of the crowd there at the Midwest Challenge. Both crew members, we must say, were uninjured, so that was also good. And that was directly after Mick Davis became stuck on a pile of logs after getting himself crossed up. You see that, Derek? He got it all messed up going into that corner after that straight, and he thought, there's cars coming through here, 160 plus, I'm getting out of the way, and he got really submerged up on this pile of logs, and that's where he stayed, I believe.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that, Toby. I tell you what, I bet you squeezed it up hard. We're going to give him a bit of a fright.
And then next minute, Mike Green in the Tacoma went end to end, and it was a huge crash, and luckily for both of them, they were uninjured in it. Section 3 was the biggest shake-up of the race. Race leader at the time, Harley Uran, dropped out with drivetrain issues, and then the new race leader, Stephen Ketheridge Hall, encountered his own gearbox problems on the final lap. So that gave Steve Phillips the lead in his ace car and comfortably brought it home for a 6.5 minute win over Dave Rowett, who continued to pick up the pace as the sections went on and will be one to watch moving into the rest of the season. Brad Krepp claimed his first ever outright podium in third, a further 12 minutes back in his second race in his new Nissan Navara. Murray Kiefer fell just over a minute back in fourth with a side-by-side turbo class win, whilst the championship contenders finished in fifth and sixth respectively. Jared Gruar getting the better of Jared Percival, who ran the weekend without a navigator by 7 minutes to tighten the points gap with 2 races to go. Peter Horn claimed the extreme four-wheel drive win. Dean Visigai took home the Sportslight trophy, whilst young Matthew Beck claimed the Performance Tour drive in an old Kingswood. Saw pictures at Kingswood, Derek, on Facebook. Matthew Beck, pretty impressive piece of machinery. I don't think he completed all the laps, but even to do a lap of a track like over there in the Midwest in an old Kingswood's quite unbelievable.
Oh, Toby, as you know, I started off at a HQ, mate. I'll tell you what, anyone that's in this day and age, the tracks have got rougher and rougher, sandy rocks, mate. To do it in a HQ, Kingswood, mate, come on.
Incredible.
That's pretty impressive.
So now courtesy of Bobby Sanju of Lens Nation Studios, who produced the winners' highlights, and Jason Gallier with his great ground coverage of the weekend with his video, his interviews of the winners, and epic in-cab footage of Harley Uren. You can sit back and enjoy that.
So obviously a good weekend, ending up first in class, so first outright.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. The event organisers put on a brilliant track. It was real challenging, but yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, and just on the track, obviously it's fairly rutted and chopped up.
Yeah, that last section, the holes are as deep as I've ever seen. I've raced all over Australia, and it's one of the roughest tracks by far.
And what's the plan for the rest of the year? We're going to see you running, 3 Springs in the National at Kalgoorlie.
We'll definitely be at Kalgoorlie. We haven't made our minds up about 3 Springs at this stage, but we'll be at Kalgoorlie with the Nationals. Looking forward to it.
Cool. Well done.
Thank you very much.
So tell us about your race. Obviously a long, tough race.
Long and hard, deep ruts, deep holes. It was good fun. First test in the car, and podium finish was good. Awesome.
Yep. And what's the plan for the rest of the season? Any more races in the new buggy?
Hopefully the rest of the season should be good.
Yep. Right, well done.
Thank you.
All right, Brad, obviously your second run in the truck and a great result with third outright. How was the race?
Oh, absolutely stoked for the outright position. It's my first time on the podium. I've been close a couple of times in the old Mr. Patrol, fourth a couple of times in that, but third is just outstanding. Over the moon, and anyone that finished this event, it was a tough event. The track just got worse and worse and worse every lap, and it's anyone that's finished has done really, really well.
And what's the plan for the rest of the season? More racing?
Yeah, hope so. We'll go home and have a good check over the truck, make sure there's no damage. It was all feeling good towards the end, so fingers crossed it's good to go again. Hopefully 3 Springs, we'll see everyone out there again. We'll try to do the national round at the end of the year too. Kalgoorlie, looking forward to that. Haven't been out there for a few years, so it'll be good to get back out.
All right, well done. Cheers, mate.
Thanks.
awesome exposure, Wheelie. Jason Gleer, we thank you. We almost covered everything that a race has to offer, and then some more. But Wheelie, that sand, we can half relate with Nabiac, looks brutal. And on an interesting note, before we talk about that, all the podium getters at the Midwest did mention the Kalgoorlie race, that they'll be there. So it's always good to see like the winners of races want to step up to that next level, and hopefully if COVID sort of plays part, they might participate in an ORC round in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, let's hope so, Tobe. That's how everything goes to plan, mate. But yeah, how good is that? How good is that footage? Like,
Yeah.
you just don't get footage. Like, mate, like I said to you, the people that do this for us
Incredible.
won't get any better than that. That's awesome footage.
Yeah, it's good to see. And of course, the Kalgoorlie Desert Race entries open next Tuesday, so it's ORC round 4 now. So get those entries in, and fingers crossed that everyone can get over there. So now onto the news from around the tracks. Firstly, ORC has had a big reshuffle in their calendar. Of course, Rainbow is the end of September. Highly doubtful at the moment with the things going on down there in Victoria. And then they've had a little bit of a shuffle there, Derek, with the back-to-back rounds of the BF Goodrich Motorsport Australia ORC Championship. They've now put Kalgoorlie the 23rd, 24th of October, and then a week after, the 29th and 31st of October, will be the, of course, Can-Am Loveday 400. So it's a big thing for everyone to sort of fit it in, but obviously it's with border restrictions, subject to border restrictions, and the way things are going in New South Wales, things will have to get improved very quickly to even contemplate going over to a race like that, but fingers crossed. The New South Wales Off-Road Panel released a statement last weekend to say that their 2021 championship has been cancelled due to obviously the events having to call it with the COVID crisis in the state. The Markle Demolition Challenge was also held a couple of weeks ago. That was round 2 of the Motorsport Australia North Queensland Super Series, which was won by Robert Turner in his Desert Dynamics buggy. It was only a small field there, but they did 220 kilometres, I believe, on the Saturday, so a good day's racing. Chris Sollett was in second, and Mark Bredden brought his single-seater home in third. The Sequora Dam Buster, Derek, which we'd like to get out to in St George, it's down for the 2nd and 3rd of October. Of course, run by Sequora, but it'll be another good event out there for the Queenslanders.
Oh, it'll be a good event, Tobe. Like I said, this now COVID, we're just going to sit back and hope for the best and
see what happens.
Do the right thing, and so we can actually go to race and the rest of us take it over.
And Derek, in some heart-lifting news, there's not much great news going around Australia at the moment, but a good friend of ours, Troy Duff, posted a status on social media on his Duff Racing page that a new Illumicraft machine is well in its stages of being compiled for a big season next year, and I believe they'll have it over here at the end of the year. So how good would they see Troy Duff back on the racetrack in 2022?
I'll tell you what, Tobe, I'll take my hats off to Troy, mate. After that big rollover, they're going to Windy, mate, and actually, like I said, the Gymco was a write-off. You got a few little parts in and out of it, mate, but to step up, buy another car and go again, mate, it's good to see. And a young fella that's actually got a lot of talent will go a long way.
Yeah.
His father is 150% behind him and supporting him. And
look out.
Yeah, no, it's good to see, mate. It's bloody good to see.
So Wheelie, now onto our preview segment for this week's show. We'll have a quick, brief look into these events because we still have a show before they actually take place on the 10th and 11th of September, but we have 2 events to get through. The 2021 Pat McDonald Earth Moving Don River Dash up there in Bowen. We unfortunately had to withdraw our entry this week. We're no chance of getting out there with the border restrictions. They lost a few from New South Wales and the South Australian entries, but they still have 93 starters with a couple from WA and Northern Territory. It'll be another epic Don River Dash.
Oh, mate. Yeah, we'll get there, mate, next year, hopefully, with you.
1 year.
Epic.
So Talbot Cox headlines the field after his 2-second victory there last year over good friend Michael Marson, both in their racer engineering Class 1 machines. Ryan Taylor will be there in his Tatum. He'll be one to watch. Camp Battle, Tony Falaba, Andrew Miles, Rowan Williams. So it's a great lineup of buggies. You've also got Beau Robinson and Brent Smoothie. Will the OBR team strike gold in Bowen? Well, at this stage, I believe they are still planning to head that way from their Alice Spring base in their Geyser Brother trophy truck, and they'll be there with Brent Smoothie, so good luck to them. 2019 champion Billy Geddes, you can't count him out. Doesn't do as much racing as he did in the past, but he won't go down swinging, that's for sure. And Brett Comiskey, I believe, is set to be on the grid in his race engineering four-wheel drive truck. So he'll be there to make some noise also. The father and son team, Derek of Chris and Cooper Weston, will pilot their respective machines into battle. Kai Floyd seeks to continue his Queensland dominance this year in his Can-Am. They'll face some stiff competition from the Swinglehurst brothers, Brad Belcher, Josh Weidman and Kai Camilleri, just to name a few. You got us an early tip for the Don River Dash this year, Derek?
Oh, mate.
I was thinking
Whiskey, mate, that big truck, a lot of horsepower.
on that sand, yeah.
Yeah, mate. Horsepower and sand and suspension, mate. Like, he could be one to watch.
You're going to go Comiskey, and I'm going to go Michael Marcel. The only reason he didn't win last year because I believe he come in with a flat tyre, so go all the way there this year, big fella. Now on to the 2021 Pretorial Hotel Mannum Enduro, round 5 of the South Australian Off-Road Racing Association Series. Track is situated on the Habees family property down there at Mannum on the Murray River town. 23-kilometre enduro track of limestone, sand and dirt that always presents a challenge, a typical South Australian circuit. Aaron Habey, after a barnstorming 2021 to date, will look to add another trophy to his cabinet after a big win there in 2016. Definitely the one to beat for me. Brett Rogers, Adam Burrow and his new machine are amongst others to watch. Also, Chris Pickett has been on fire in his performance at two-wheel drive truck and will be in the mix. Simon Tucker and Sam Vanstone with the Super 1650 buggies. I believe they have about 25, 26 cars to go, and they'll obviously enter right up to race week. So you got to pick there. I can't go past Aaron Habey to continue his run.
Aaron's my pick too, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll if he has no dramas, mate, he'll be there in the front of it, and I reckon he'll win win by a minute.
Yeah. So look, we might have to look at moving in the South Australia next year, the amount of racing they're doing down there at the moment. But
yeah, let's find a good job over there and let's get into it.
We'll look at that at Christmas time. So, well, Derek, that's once again all we have time for on tonight's sort of COVID show, but we had a bit of content here to give our viewers, so we thought we'd have to come up with something. And once again, to all that make this show possible, we thank you once again. Yeah, as I said, can't thank you all enough. We have a huge Warrior special show planned for a show coming up. Maybe not the next one, but definitely the one after, including a tribute, Derek, to the man who started it all, Terry Rose, and we have a big plan for that. Hopefully COVID can open things up and allow us to make this happen, but that's in the pipeline, and that'll be a bit of a touching show for all.
Yeah, Toby, it'll be a touching show, and we've got some very good things, and let's hope this COVID restriction lifts so we can actually do that show. And,
yeah, that'd be good.
Show all our fans what Warrior was made of and who made it.
Yeah, we got some.
Where it's all gone to from there, you know what I mean?
Got some good old footage, and hopefully, might even be able to shoot the show from a special place for us all. As we leave tonight, we bring you a little action of Matty Hansen in the Start Me Up Racing Jimco from the ORC Opener at St George in March. Well, there, Derek, I called the action. You sat behind Matty Hansen in the prologue track. It is a beast, that forward-powered Jimco, but hold on to your hats because it's great viewing. So, Derek, thanks, mate. We got a show together, and hopefully next one we can be holding each other's hand again. But till then, we just got to get through it. And
yeah, no, Toby, I agree, mate. Everyone stay safe and line up and get your shot, mate, so we can all move forward in around New South Wales and Australia. It's all about getting that vaccination.
The old vaccination plug.
That's what it's all about.
So, Derek, as I said, thanks for joining us, mate. Once again, it's been a pleasure, and yeah, as you said, have a good weekend, stay safe, and enjoy Matty Hansen at St George. Cheerio.